Hey everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Smart and Vinyl, where we're going to talk a little records, a little music, and a whole lot of meh. So, thanks for joining me tonight. In case you hear something in the background, it's rain. I know, it's actually raining in Southern California. Go figure. So if you hear that or anything, that's what that is. Just hanging out tonight. I had an interesting conversation with my friend last night about this subject, and it came up just because, I always like to think about the things I hate in music, and I've mentioned them before on previous videos, like the dollar records. Well, I don't hate dollar records, but anyway, so the dollar records, I hate extended 12-inch extended remix long play dance versions. I also hate, and this is where I'm going with this, I hate when side projects sound like the original band. And I'm talking to you electronic. That's some leftover New Order. Johnny's like, I fucking broke up the Smiths for this. Anyways, so yeah, I always hate it when like a side project sounds like the original band, because I'm like, why do a side project then? But then so my friends started talking and we're like, well, what's the difference between a supergroup and a side project? And that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. And I want to get your opinion, so make sure you leave some comments. But let's talk. And like I said, this is going to be really off the cuff, because I have nothing planned. We're just going to talk. Look, I'm just sitting on the floor like a normal person. I got my Perrier like a normal person. Let's talk. Okay, so, a super group basically is when you have super musicians all come together from different bands to form a group, right? And in a side project, you would think would be something they do on the side, different from their regular band. But it gets a little complicated. So, I guess that's the difference between a supergroup and a side project. But, like, at what point does a supergroup just become a regular band, right? So, say you get a supergroup together, like, I don't know, like Blind Faith, right, which is Eric Clapton, Steve Winwood, and you do like one or two albums, right? And you don't do any more. So is that a side project because you only did like one album? Or is that a super group? You may have a band like Rainbow, right? With Ronnie James Dio, Richie Blackmore, Cozy Powell, who did lots of records. So is that still a super group, or is that just a regular band? I mean, at what point does a super group become a regular band? Because, say like the Yardbirds, right? There's 3 great musicians in that band. But at the time they came together, I guess, to make a band. That takes me to my other point. Like, don't you got to be super before you can be in a super group? Good example to me is like Humble Pie, right? Well, Peter Frampton's in that. But that was before, like, he was Peter Frampton. There was no Frampton Comes Alive. He was in some shitty little band I have never even heard of before Humble Pie, right? So you're not super. I guess that goes back to the Yardbirds too, right? Because, I mean, they were just musicians, and they happened to all 3 of them be good, and then they went on to bigger and better things. Okay, so let's say Yardbirds, not a supergroup. Okay, not a supergroup. Like Emerson, Lake and Palmer, that's a pretty, they all came together, and then they went on to do better things. Would that be a supergroup? I guess so. Crosby, Stills, and Nash, that would be, I'd consider that a supergroup, because they all came from pretty big established bands already, because you have David Crosby from the Byrds, Stephen Stills from Buffalo Springfield, and Graham Nash from the Hollies, right? But, okay, so then they're a super group, but they made a bajillion records. So that's just their band, their regular band? Like, I don't know. Like, where do you draw the line on that? And like, what point is it just musicians getting together to form a band? Or maybe they're from bands that, like, really aren't that great. So I guess that's another thing. If you take a bunch of mediocre musicians, does that automatically make it a supergroup? I know some people consider Bad Company a supergroup because Paul Rogers was in Free, the other guy was in Free, one guy was from Mott the Hoople. Yeah, they're all okay bands, but I wouldn't consider them like super, I don't consider Cream a supergroup, and I know people do that because, I don't know, they were together for like 3 years and had a bunch of albums. So is it a regular band then? Well, I don't know who else. Like, the Power Station. Here we go. Power Station. I consider that a side project. There was like one album, if that, right? One album. Robert Palmer was like, "Fuck you." And he didn't even play with the rest of the band. So yeah, that's a side project. What else? Asia. Now, is Asia a supergroup? Because they all came from pretty big bands. Steve Howe came from Yes. Carl Palmer, the guy came from the Buggles. But they had like 2 or 3 albums. So is that just a band by that point? Or here's a good example. So is it to be a side project? Do you have to have a currently active band? Like, there's Genesis, right? And then Phil Collins went solo. Then you have, Mike and the McAssholes and GTR. So Mike and the McAssholes is pretty big. They had some hits. So is that a side project because he was currently also in Genesis? Or is that a super group? Well, I love Paul Carrack, but yeah, I would consider that a side project, a very successful side project, but side project nonetheless. What else? Oh, and then I think you have something that's like a beyond a super group, where you have like the Highwaymen, which is, Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson and Waylon and Chris Christopherson. That's like fucking beyond a super group, right? Mecha super group. Or okay, answer me this, give me your opinion on this one. Traveling Wilburys, right? So you have fucking super giants in this band. In case you don't know, which you youngins may not know, Traveling Wilburys is Tom Petty, Roy Orbison before he died, Bob Dylan, Jeff Lynne, George Harrison. Well, one, I don't consider Jeff Lynne super just because I hate ELO, right? But like they only had the one album, so is that and Tom Petty was at the height of his career then. George Harrison had the fucking "I got my mind set on you," so they were all currently doing other stuff pretty much. Even Roy Orbison kind of had a comeback. So is that a side project because they had one album, or is it a super group because they're all fucking ginormous? I don't know. Electronic, we already established that as a poor side project, I guess. Poor Johnny. Anyways, Damn Yankees, that's one. I'd say it's a super group. They're all from pretty big bands, But then you have like Temple of the Dog. Like that's a side project. Ain't nothing super in that shit. So, anyways, let me have your opinion on that. Like, what do you think? Side project versus supergroup versus mecha supergroup versus regular band. Here's a good example. If it's one different person, but they're all from a regular band, that's not a supergroup. And I hear people talk about that. Like, as an example, like Bad English. Okay, well, they're all from the Babies except for Neil Schon, which, okay. But even the guy from the Babies was in Journey. So it's just like some When I See You Smile gangbang clusterfuck going on with that. It's, or, I read something where they considered, Sabbath with Dio. No, they just needed a new singer. Like, it's like saying, oh, Van Halen's a supergroup, now they got Sammy Hagar. No, that's not a supergroup. But some people consider that, where it's like, oh, that's a supergroup. Well, they're all from the same band, what else did I read? Oh, someone considered Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds a supergroup. Why? Because Blixas and Einstein Zende Neubauten? They're all like the Bad Seeds. Like, so, I don't know. Let me know what you think. I'm sure I didn't cover bands. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. Just the more common supergroups, side projects. Let me know what you think. Don't get too artsy on me, because this is another point, is like, if they all come from little unknown bands, I think I made that point. I'm tired. The rain is making me tired. But anyways, no, that's not a super group. That's not a super group. So anyways, let me know what you think. Don't give me any obscure bullshit. Don't give me, one person's like a superstar and the band is like, the rest of the band's like, meh. No, that's not a super group. But give me some good examples and let's talk. Leave some comments and I'll get back to the record reviews for the next video. But anyways, thanks for listening. From me to you, from Eric Clapton's million fucking side projects and super groups. From, who else? I got my mind set on you. And you. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hey everyone, Dee here. Thanks again for watching the latest episode of Smart and Vinyl. And make sure you like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel because I got my mindset on you. I got my mindset on you. I got my mindset on you. I got my mindset on you.